reserves. Okay, so from the Fed's T account, okay, we have learned that there is a $100 reduction in reserves, whereas there is an additional $100 increase in currency. So the monetary base doesn't change.
So unless a non-bank entity or the bank buy bond or borrow the money, is then the MB will rise or fall. But if withdraw fund from deposit into currency, then the money supply doesn't change.
No. Yeah, in this case, because the monetary base does not change, okay, and neither does the money supply.
Unless someone buy a bond or someone like put money out the system, then the MB doesn't have that effective.
Yes. This is the second factor. Okay, if a depositor, okay, decides to shift her or his deposit into currency, okay, then the monetary base, okay, is unchanged. Now let's see the third factor, discount loans. If the bank has no enough bulk cash in the bank, okay, then it has a liquidity deficiency. Okay. That's a big problem to the bank. Okay, then the bank needs to borrow money from the Fed. Okay, so let's see what happens if now the Federal Reserve Bank approves a bank's discount loans application. Okay, so suppose that now the bank has a discount loan from the Fed. Okay, let's say it's $10 million. Okay, then the bank has a discount loans. Okay, it has a discount loans, okay, which is credited, recorded under the liabilities. Okay, because there is a inflow of funds, of course, the bank's reserves will increase by $10 million. So to the Fed, okay, it also finds itself with $10 million more in reserves in banking systems. Okay, and of course, okay, he lent money to the bank. So in this case, the monetary base increases by $10 million. Yeah, because of a increase of $10 million in reserves. Actually, in the late 19th century and also in the early 20th century, the U.S. commercial bank, okay, most of the time they have bankruptcy because of liquidity deficiency. Around that time, there is no Fed, and because they do not like the centralized monetary organization, okay, they do not like that, and they do not trust about the monetary organization. That's why around that time there was no central bank in the U.S. And once they have liquidity deficiency, okay, they have no, they cannot get any loans from the bank, from the central bank, or from the, yeah, they can do that from the other bank, but they do not have the last lender resort. Okay, so in the year of 1907, okay, of course, there is another financial panic. And in that year, well, the financial panic was so severe. And now the banks realize that they need a last lender resort. And that's why, okay, after 1913, the Congress just approved, okay, and then we have seen the Federal Reserve System. Yeah, so that's that's how the Federal Reserve System originates. How about Vietnam? When did the central bank originate?
The central bank at first come in as a franc institution during colonial time. The federal bank was the Vietnamese government bank was direct subsidy of the French government bank. And after the revolution, it was converted into a government reserve. And because there is many like commercial and financial activity during that period, the bank doesn't do much. During the 1990 reformation, there have been opened up liberalization of the central reserve system. So we don't have crisis because we already have lesson from America or Japan. So we based on those knowledge to organize our Federal Reserve. But there is still several cases of liquidity problem, and there have been cases where the central bank just outright buy a commercial bank at the price of one, because the bank, that bank is run out of money, and the central bank buy that bank so that it can legally put money into that bank to pay out the debt before closing that thing down. And everybody related to that case go to jail.
Oh, really? So that's the first bailout to the bank.
There have been two or three bailouts since 2000.
Oh, since 2000, and all of them are working. Yeah, they work fine. They are successful.
Yeah, mostly the bank fail. Those bank fail because they set their interest too high. So they couldn't meet the need of real money supply when when the bank went in crisis, they couldn't have a liquidity ability to pay out to their lender, to their loaner. So the central bank step in, buy that bank, use the Federal Reserve to pay out the loaner, and either liquidify that bank or put that enforce a merger between several banks. So some other bank can take up the resource of the bankrupt one.
Okay. So it's the merger. Yeah, the merger has to be proved by the central bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
According from what I understand, most merger have to went through. There are two kind of bank in Vietnam. There are two kind of commercial bank. It's either government bank or non-government bank. So if a bank fail, it will either be disbanded or forced to merge with one of the government-controlled banks.
Okay, so may I ask you, so the government bank, so the government has 100% share over the bank.
Yes,
that's fully.
Some ones, a few banks they have 100% because those banks doesn't need to make money. They exist so that they can service the rural population, the poor people. So they don't have to have the highest rate possible, and they don't have the most competitive. They don't have the high technology, but they are very, very stable bank.
So compared to the government, the government control bank, how about the private bank? So do private bank act okay?
Private bank, they have the different from what I seen. I'm not a bank audit, so I couldn't see their paper a lot. But the mostly different is they have much higher saving rate than government bank. They really need fund.
They need funds.
They need fund to make loan. They have higher interest rate and lower loan rate. And the government bank have they can, if they need money, they can just ask for the central money.
Okay. Then how about Cambia in your case?
We are colonized by the British. That's UK. So before we used pound sterling. But as at the time when we take over, okay, the British bank that was in the Gambia, and some few commercial bank like Continental Bank, that one is no longer, but you still have Standard Chartered Bank still in operation. So that time the currency, because we have so many gold reserve, our currency was very strong, was stronger than the British pound. Yeah, but because of the naive, we don't know so much about banking, so they force us to start depreciating our currency.
Oh.
You know, so every month we have to depreciate
Oh.
the currency.
Every month.
Yes, until by the time we realize it, you know, they already collect all the gold reserve, and so of course that time, you don't actually keep the gold in the Gambia, they take it to the UK.
Oh.
You know, so they control everything.
Oh.
Even printing of our money, currency was done by them.
Yes,
Yeah.
colonial subsidiary bank.
Yeah, it started like that, but now we have the central bank, so all those things we cannot get them back, so we have to start from the scratch. Yeah. But usually, I have seen banks in the Gambia that actually, we cannot say fail, you know, but the government, since there is scrutiny, the government monitor all the banks. So when they detect that yes, this bank is going to fail, they will come in. No, so when they come in, probably they will seize the license and then put in more money for the day-to-day operation of the bank to continue. But they will look for other buyers to come and buy over the bank. Yeah. So if they have somebody who is willing to buy over the bank, the individual can buy over the bank and then pay the initial investors. And then later on you can change the name of the commercial bank to whatever. Yeah. So that's what we see.
Oh. So even though the bank was was bought or was merged by the other bank, actually the original depositors, they still can get
Hold
their
account,
deposit back.
Still hold their, they can get and still hold their account there. It's more or less like, usually most of the time the customers will don't even know what is going on. You know, because the central bank will come